Hi everybody, Tech Tony here with another cooking show, Cooking with Tech Tony. Today what we're going to do is we're going to make stuffed portobello mushrooms. So I'm going to have a little fun doing that for y'all or with y'all today. So real quickly, just to show you kind of some of our ingredients today. By the way, happy Thursday, June 13th. Officially Juneteenth, I think. So welcome. So this is going to be a fun little recipe for us to go over real quickly here, just to show you all. We're going to have the portobello mushroom. We're going to have some zucchini inside of it, some yellow bell pepper. One of those. We're going to do about a half of a yellow onion, some cheeses here, Parmesan, and a cheese that I got. I forgot the name of it. I think it's called like Pink Lady or something like that. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that. I love stuffed mushrooms. I love mushrooms in general. By the way, we're going to use a little garlic with that onion, kind of give it a nice little twist. We're going to use some breadcrumbs to mix in, give that stuffing some girth, and then we're going to stick it in the oven at about 400 degrees after we cook up some stuff. But, one other nice little thing I forgot here. In that body mixture, we're also going to do some sweet Italian sausage. As a matter of fact, specifically some turkey Italian sausage to make that a little bit healthier, just because, number one, I'm not a pork eater, even though I do cook pork for friends and family periodically, but I think we're going to have a little fun. So, with that said, hi everybody, nice seeing you all again. But let's go over and get some chopping done and get things on the oven, because I know my wife is starving. So, sharp knife here. I've already washed my key vegetables here. So, real quickly, I'm just going to bring a little bowl over, and I'm just going to super easily kind of cut this up. I'm going to make the stuffing in my Cuisinart food processor. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cook up some of the vegetables, so cook time in the oven is going to be quick. So we're going to get that going. I'm just going to dice up some zucchini or Italian squash or whatever you like, or Mexican squash here. So I'm just going to throw the zucchini in a bowl here while I cut up all my vegetables. So maybe, what's his name? Uncle Roger or Gordon Ramsay or Chef Mike Simon. You happen to see this? Maybe you like this recipe. Maybe you've got some tips on how to improve this recipe. Hopefully, or maybe you're just out there watching Melody or friends or family Derisi or whoever is friends with me on Facebook or YouTube. And maybe you're just wanting to try out something different and new. By the way, here what I'm doing is I'm cutting along the line of the bell pepper. That way the seeds are kind of self-contained. And again, I'm just going to cut up that bottom just a little bit. I'm going to drop that in there. I am going to dice this up just a little bit. And I've already washed my yellow bell pepper. You can use green if you want. I think green just gives it a different taste. And again, I'm not necessarily looking to I'm looking to cook the bell pepper and the zucchini just a tad to kind of soften them, but not fully cook them, because I want the oven to do that for me. And then I'm just going to break this down just a little bit. And of course, my poor knife skills, I almost cut off a finger there, heaven forbid. Let's see here. Onion, I'm just going to cut in half. and use half the onion. I'm going to peel the outer skin here. And this is always the fun part. You know what? I want the bigger half. Seeing how I didn't cut that truly in half. That's our little dog Loki barking in the background. He just kind of ate right behind me. Now he's upstairs bugging Mom. Hi, babe. Yep, he just ate. You're welcome. So I'm just going to cut up the onion. Now, unlike the other vegetables I just did, I am going to stick the onion in the frying pan first, because I'm going to start to sweat the onions first in olive oil along with my garlic. And again, I'm just going to... The reason why I'm doing it roughly is to cut down on the tears. And just peel off that outer skin. And I've seen some chef shows lately, woohoo, say that 5 times fast, where they just grab like 3 or 4 layers of onion, rip it apart, and your onion goes from this to this. So I love onion, especially yellow, because it is sweet. So I do enjoy it. Just a rough little chop. In the little pan it goes. Because that fell on the ground. There we go. Okay, that's off to the side. We're gonna open up a couple of cloves of garlic. Now, typically I like doing fresh garlic, you know, peeling them off the bulb, but you know what, for time purposes, I do like these prepackaged cloves of garlic. So it's going to make that a little bit easier. And again, if I'm going to put this in the food processor, I'm not going to necessarily worry about finely chopping this. I'm just going to let the food processor do it. But what I will do is kind of do a rough chop. And again, just to open it up, smell it. It smells pretty good. Even for pre-packaged garlic, it's nice. If you don't have a food processor, then I would definitely recommend something like buying a jar of chopped garlic. Now, I think food prices going up the way they have, chopped garlic probably, I think, is, I'm used to like $3.50 for a nice jar of chopped garlic. If you want to spend time to chop your garlic, then $1 for 2 bulbs of garlic is perfect. In this case, I did 4 cloves here. Pop that in the pan, just like so. And now, real quickly here, I'm going to take my Portobello mushroom. Now, with the Portobello, what I like about the Portobello mushroom is that it's super meaty. So some people have a texture thing about smaller mushrooms. Mushrooms are really good for you. I think it's a really great meat substitute. If you're even trying to be a vegetarian or want a meat alternative, maybe you're tired of chicken or pork or beef, then try out a mushroom. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to pull out the stem, just like so. So now I'm going to have a nice little cup. I'm going to put that off to the side because we're going to put all of our stuffing in here when we bake it. And I've already kind of wiped them down, so I'm just going to take off any of the little bits there outside of what came out of there, and I'm just going to put that or cut that up just a little bit, because when I put this all in the food processor, the mushroom's in there. Now, because I don't have more mushrooms, and Portobellos are pretty big. I got these out of Smart and Final for, I want to say it was $3.99 a pound, or I'm sorry, $4.99 a pound. And I ended up getting 1, 2, 3, 4 of these mushrooms for a grand total of $3.79. So, you know, mushrooms really don't weigh that much. They're really nice. And again, you know, if you're into mushrooms, this is a really, you know, great meat alternative. I think, you know, mushrooms just add flavor. You know, you probably have seen a video of mine lately where I take king oyster mushrooms and make them into what I like to call faux scallops. You know, so maybe scallops are super expensive. Then if you can find from an Asian market or even your supermarket, there we go. Your supermarket king oyster mushrooms, cut up the stems to be about 1 inch thick, and then you can literally, you know, have the taste of scallops. So I'm just going to throw those in my little pan here, and then I'm just going to set these off to the side in just a few minutes. Okay, so with that said, let's come on over here to the stove. And hopefully y'all can see this. Yeah, good. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my frying pan over. I've got my onions in here. I've got my garlic in here. I'm just going to add some olive oil. And again, with the amount of stuff I'm about to add in here, I'm going to turn that on high. We're going to get those to start to sweat. Then I'm going to throw my vegetables in, and then my seasoning. My seasoning will be salt, pepper, powdered onion, and as I drop everything, I do believe this is my, that's not it, sorry. See, sometimes I have problems finding my own seasonings. More garlic in case you need it. Why not? And actually, instead of regular pepper today, let's go with ground white pepper. So ground white pepper. No, not going to go with ground white pepper. We're going to go with black pepper, and I'm going to put in a little rosemary. And then again, I'm not going to worry about Italian seasoning or anything like that, only because my breadcrumbs are already pre-seasoned. See here that we're starting to cook, so get that out. So I'm going to cook my vegetables just a little bit. I'm going to get them to sweat a little bit. And then when I can, I'm going to put everything into the food processor here. Starting to get something really nice here. I'm just going to take my vegetables, that zucchini, those bell peppers. Whoops! Wow, that's gone out of there. Just going to throw that in here. Kind of slide it down just a little bit. I'm going to drop it to medium-high heat. I am going to cover this all the way in the back, so we're just going to pop that right on there, kind of steam it. Now you're probably going to be asking, well, geez, Tony, how are you cooking the sausage? Well, we're going to cook this first, kind of get everything going. And by the way, while I'm cooking this, can't forget to season. So, clean here, a couple of pinches of Maldon salt. You can be pretty generous, I think, because if you're like me, you like salt. By the way, if you've never seen this, it's flake salt, large flake salt, which is really nice. A little bit can go a long way. I'm going to put a little bit of dash of pepper. Because why not? Seasoning is seasoning. Don't be afraid to season to taste. A little rosemary. Garlic powder, just in case. You need more garlic, because that's me. I'm a garlic-aholic. And of course, because you need it, maybe a little extra onion powder. Give that a little bit of sweet taste. Now, I don't want anything burning here. And I see here that I might need, I'm going to drop the temperature a little bit more. Almost like a stir fry, actually. Whoop. So here we got this going. Recovered again. Bring the camera back up. Okay, so we're going to have a little fun here. So after I do the vegetables, I'm going to put it in the food processor. When I do the food processor, then I'm going to do the sausage. So again, Jenny O makes really good sweet Italian sausage because it's using turkey meat. I personally prefer it. I like it. I think it's great. Maybe you're into a little spice because you're spicy. Then, maybe you do the hot link sausage. Or if you're a pork eater and you prefer pork sausage, then by all means you could do so. I think just having fun with something like this would be awesome. So, you can make this however you want. As a matter of fact, I want to say the last time I did stuffed mushrooms was probably close to 8 years ago. And I just thought, my wife and I want to eat a little bit healthier. I do cook a lot of chicken. I do definitely cook a lot of beef. So this is a nice little alternative and a little bit of a compromise because, most thankful for that. All right. So the vegetables are pretty cut. And I like that. Again, I'm going to chop them all up here in the food processor. So what I'm now going to do, I'm going to lower the heat to low, just real quick. And now I'm just going to put this directly in the food processor. Now I'm not going to start anything yet until I cook the sausage. So I'm just going to come over here. And hopefully I can do this in one fell swoop without spilling anything. Or melting anything. Ooh. All right, so here, all right. So the vegetables are in, and anything that dropped, I apologize. So now back on the heat. This time I'm just going to open up my sausage. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to chop up the sausage. I'm not going to cook it with the skin on it. I'm just going to simply squeeze out the meat. The casing is all well and good, but honestly, why? So I'm just going to cook all 5 of these. I think this is about a pound of sausage. Again, turkey meat, turkey sausage, Italian sausage. It's going to have all that great fun, yummy Italian flavor. Squeezing those out of the casings. anything up or chopping anything up. It's just easier just to squeeze all that stuff out, because at the end of the day, less waste. So here, I'm just going to cook this up real quick. So while that's doing that, let's bring it back over here. Let's talk about some fun cheese. As I have you look at my stomach. So, good friend of Sherry's and mine, Alana's husband, Alana Teeter's husband, Dima, took me to this really great place in Dana Point to go and do wine tasting. So that was really fun, and in the process, I ended up picking up a particular cheese from their selection that they had there while we were wine tasting, called the Dutch Girl. Now, the Dutch Girl reminds me very much of almost like an Italian cheese, or I should say, the mix between Italian and Gouda. It's really yummy. So we're going to add some of this cheese in with everything else. So I'm just going to take a nice, good, healthy chunk of this cheese. I'm going to cut off the rind, because eating rinds are not good. Just like so. And I'm going to make sure I put this in the food processor when I put everything else together. And I'm going to leave enough cheese for myself, because I'm going to also chop up some to put on the top of the mushroom. So with Parmesan and everything else, we're going to do that. Now I see here that we've got a little steam going on. We're going to come back over and do that. And for the most part, this is cooked. And again, turkey meat goes really quick. And that Dutch Girl, oh my gosh, so good. It's a really good, I want to say the closest thing I can think of is it's a Gouda, or it's like a Gouda. So there we go. All right, so we got our meat cooked here, which is awesome. So now, because there's a lot of liquid in there, I'm going to bring this over to the food processor. You're going to see that over here. And I'm just going to use a nice little strainer spoon. That way it's just easier for me to pick all this fun stuff up. And not get too much fat, but enough. I'm going to turn off my stove. Put that in there. Perfect. All right. Set that off to the side. We'll deal with that at cleanup. Okay. Now, what do we need for the mixture? We're going to use Italian breadcrumbs, or you could use Italian panko crumbs. I usually like panko, but the store didn't have any panko. They only had Italian bread. What's nice about this is that everything is kind of pre-seasoned. I'm going to add maybe, out of this entire 15 ounces, maybe half. So breadcrumbs. I'm going to add in some Parmesan cheese, maybe I want to say about maybe a half a cup of Parmesan cheese. Because I want to leave another half for the top of the top, and then I'm going to add in some of that Dutch Girl Gouda cheese. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to now pulsate it and then get it broken down. So I'm going to start off pulsating. Well, actually, I'll just put it to low. Taste what it is I'm making, make sure everything's seasoned okay. Oh, that's good. That's good. All right. I'm gonna bring my camera over here. Wash the spoon off real quick. Kind of show you what type of consistency I personally like. So now this is the mixture. Whoops. This is the mixture. So everything's kind of finely chopped, but not overly fine that you can still make out things. But with the Italian seasoning on top of the sausage and the other vegetables, this actually comes out pretty good. It's very stuffing-like. Super yummy. All right. So now, what are we going to do? New spoon first, but what I'm now going to do, I'm going to clean off my counter here, just a skosh. The mushrooms, I'm going to turn them upside down here. I'm going to lightly oil the outside here so that they'll cook. So I'm going to turn them upside down, and if I'm smart, I'll actually put olive oil in a cup and then brush on the olive oil. Oh. Cup. Olive oil. And where? And my basting brush. So now what I'm going to do here, real quickly, is I'm just going to base or brush the mushroom on the outside. Again, this is going to be really nice as this cooks. The oil is going to help it cook. And it won't burn. So here, just going to be generous. Oh, hey, sweetheart. Hey, Cherry just got home. Yay! All right, brush our mushrooms with the olive oil. Again, Gordon, if you happen to see this, you know, love to get your opinion, because I know you'll probably be like, hiya!
That's
Uncle Roger.
Uncle Roger.
So, all right, so here I'm just, and you see here that the oil is just, you know, mushrooms just love soaking in moisture. So just brushing this with olive oil just is absorbed very quickly by the mushroom. All right, so now, in a casserole dish that I've lined with aluminum foil, all I'm going to do, if this will hold on to everything, which, nope, it's not going to hold on to everything, so plan number 2, different casserole dish. I hope so.
It smells really good.
I have a lot of stuffing. Do you want to try a little?
Sure.
See, my wife's already liking it. All right, so here I'm just going to put my little mushrooms in here.
Just have another bite.
Sure. And hopefully I can stick this fourth one in there. Perfect. So that's in there. Now, large spoon. stuffing. Grab a big chunk of it and start filling up the mushroom. Now, depending on how big your portobellos are, you know, this may take a lot or may not take a lot. I think with everything that I have going on here, it won't take a lot, or these will take a lot, but I think I made a lot. So I may just buy some extra portobellos tomorrow to finish off the rest of the stuffing, depending on how these go tonight. All right. Stuff my mushrooms just like so. Because I want it to be meloned. Because we want to have fun. This is a full meal for us. Or maybe you do smaller mushrooms, and this is a great little fun dinner appetizer. All right. And maybe next time I won't add in as much, what is it called? Breadcrumb. Because I think I might have added too much breadcrumb, but we'll see. Put a nice little sized bell pepper on there. And I think that's pretty much it. Okay, good. Yeah, that's going to be a lot. At least another 4 mushrooms. All right, I'm going to move that off to the side. True Italian fashion, we do need more olive oil. So I'm just going to drizzle and drizzle a little olive oil, right? That way nothing gets burnt. Now I'm going to take my shredded Parmesan, and I think I'm just going to place a little bit just like so, right on top. And of course, this is a big mushroom, so as you can tell, that's probably going to be mine. The rest is Sherry's. All right, so now with our generous Parmesan cheese, we're now going to come over to a 400-degree oven that's been preheating. I'm going to stick this in there, and voila. So now, in about I'm going to say hopefully 15-20 minutes, probably about 15-20 minutes. I'm going to check on it, and we'll see what happens from there. And in the oven, it's been going on now for about 15 minutes. So let's check it out. So I'm going to bring you over here. By the way, I hope you all are enjoying a really good dinner, and hopefully this will actually whet your appetite. So 400 degrees. I'm going to open this up. Ooh, steam the glasses. There we go. There is our cooked portobellos. And hopefully you can hear the little sizzle. But now, I'm just going to simply grab one of these. And another reason why I like doing the olive oil on the actual mushroom itself is that it doesn't stick to the aluminum foil, which is always a good thing. So there we go. We're going to bring it back over here so we can at least have a little taste test. And off goes the oven. All right. So now for the big yummy taste. So we're just going to cut into this little bad boy here. Ooh. Mushrooms are cooked nicely. Everything's steamy. I wish you could smell this. It smells really good. I know Cindy had mentioned earlier in her earlier comment that mushrooms are not her thing, but let's take a taste. So blow on it. That's really good. The flavor's there. I think the only thing I would probably change about this is not add as much breadcrumb in. So instead of a half a cup to a cup, I probably do a quarter to a half a cup, if that. So, but it's really, really good and really yummy. So hopefully this will give you an idea of an alternative meal choice, just to break up the day. So I hope you all have a great and wonderful evening. Happy Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday, ready for the weekend. Enjoy.